Hello, hello. Let me see if I can get my chat to work or if anybody is on right now. Can you guys hear me? Not sure if you guys can hear me right now. Hopefully you guys can. Trying to figure out how to go live on Instagram here. I see that I'm live on Facebook. See if I can get my chat to work. Trying to figure out how to get live on Instagram. Just give me one more second, guys. Let me just figure this out real quick. I hope you guys are having a good day. Again, just trying to figure out how to go live on Instagram right now. I am live on Facebook and I am live on YouTube. Also, can someone just type something just to see if it gets shown on my program? What's up, Diana? Hey, Christian. What's up, bro? Hopefully I'll see you this Saturday. Sounds good. Awesome. Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure out for Instagram, Christian, cuz it's not coming out for my Instagram. Um But if not, we'll just do Facebook and YouTube today because I don't want to take up much from people's time. What's up, Diana? I love you. I'm excited for what God gave in my heart, what God put in my heart today for everybody here. Um, just give me maybe 5 more minutes and we'll get started. Just trying to see if I can get this Instagram working. Hopefully this works. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. It is checking it out for me. Hopefully it does take my Instagram. If not, we'll do Facebook today. Let me actually go check my Instagram right now. Yeah, Christian, can you let me know if it's on Instagram now? By any chance? I don't think it is yet. If not, we'll just get started on here. Um, which is fine. I'll figure it out for next week. Maybe it's this. Mm. Samuel, te amo, Samuel, mi hermano. Estoy tratando de ponerlo en el Instagram también, pero no me está trabajando. Déjame ver ahora. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I am going to open up Facebook on here so I can see everyone's comments, and I'll open up on Instagram on my phone because I don't want to leave everybody on Instagram out, especially that I announced it that'd be on Instagram. And then we'll get started, guys. Just give me like 3 to 4 more minutes. And I want to be able to see everybody's comments as they come in. Um, Hopefully, I see all your comments. Sí, claro, también amamos a David. Definitivamente, David familia. Just give me one more second, guys. Um, I have the fan on. Hopefully, you guys don't hear it. Hopefully, it's not bothering you guys. Sí, estoy tratando de chequear el Instagram. Si no, me meto live con el teléfono. Que está bien. All right. I'm going to go live on my phone on Instagram. There we go. It should be working for Instagram now. You can see the camera a bit. Let me move this up. Sí, ahora estoy live en Instagram. Pero no estoy en Facebook, que es la única parte que molesta. What's up, Lifehouse and Pastora Bernice? I'm trying to figure out how to be able to go live Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all of them at the same time. So this week, I'm gonna be going live on Instagram. I'm going live on Instagram on my phone. Then I'm gonna go live on Instagram. Or I'm on Facebook and YouTube right now through a program on my computer. Not really sure. I tried Yellow Duck. Yeah, bro. Now that you're there, what's up? I don't know if that's Alex or the other guy, but yeah, bro. I tried to do OBS. It wasn't working. We'll figure it out though. Just let me know whenever you have time for next week. I did get Yellow Duck. I got Yellow Duck. I guess I just didn't know how to do it, bro. Okay. What's up, Alex? All right. So I have people right now on Facebook. I got people on Instagram, so I don't want to take up anybody else's time. So I'm just gonna get started. So please share this because we're getting started now. Please send this to your people. Um, and let's get the ball rolling. All right. So this week, guys, Dios te bendiga, Ámbar, Pastor Ámbar. Oro que todo esté bien allá en la República Dominicana. So to get started, guys, I just want to bring a quick word. Last week, if you weren't here, it was the first live that we ever did. And it was awesome. It was awesome. It was definitely my first time, so I was a little nervous. But I was excited just to get started. We spoke about several different points. Some of the points having to do based on the story of the man who was crippled. Just talking about cycles, breaking cycles, and stuff like that. Now that we've talked about that, now I want to head to the Old Testament to the story of King David. I know it's a story we've all heard, but I want to try to bring it from a different angle. El abanico. Oh, you guys can hear my fan? Sorry. Give me 1 second. Now my room's gonna get a little hot, but it's all right. So, um, we talked about breaking cycles last week. This week, I want to focus a little bit more on purpose. Purpose in a way that God has intended purpose to be, because I think we tend to mix purpose and potential a lot. What's up, Jenny? What's up, Noel? I think we tend to mix purpose and potential a lot. So I know last week we talked about breaking cycles. But now I want to focus a little bit more on that sense. Mish, what's up, Mish? So I am live right now, guys, on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. So if I do start speaking to different people that maybe aren't in your chat, just don't get confused. But let's get the ball rolling now. What's up, Jenny? Jenny from the block. All right, so Like I said last week, we spoke about the man who was crippled in front of the gate, who was crippled for several years. And so this week, I want to talk about the story of King David. It's a story very dear to my heart, a story that I feel like I can identify myself in many ways. Um, and am I that close from the camera? It's hard for me to back up from the camera, guys, because right now I wasn't able to go live through my actual DSLR camera on different devices. So I'm kind of close to this one because I had to do it through my phone. But if you want a better angle, go on my Facebook. Just look me up, Angel Rosado, or you can look up my YouTube too. And you'll get a better angle because I have another camera recording me right now. All right, so now I'm just gonna focus on the word. All right, so one of the things that for me impacted me a lot, one of the things that from the Bible that really spoke to me a lot, and one thing that I really had to learn was that man will always measure you by potential. Man's measuring stick will always be potential. How far you can go, how far you can reach, will always be by the potential they look at you. That's how far people will look at you, right? Now, there is something that we learn about and something that I want every person to understand that each one of you have, and that's purpose. Purpose is not man's way of measuring how far you can go. Purpose is not man's way of measuring what you're capable of. It's God's way. But then purpose takes a choice. Purpose takes a choice in choosing God over what anybody else has to say. And so I love the story of King David. The reason I love the story of King David is because we talk about so much his battle with Goliath. We talk about how he ruled. We talk about how he was a great worshiper. But obviously, there was a process that he had to get to his purpose. Because every purpose, and like I said, each one of you guys have a purpose, requires a process. It requires sometimes pain. It requires hurt. It requires promises, and King David had to go through all that. So if you really think about the story of King David, when he first started, he was a man he was a young kid who was a shepherd. While his brothers were these great mighty warriors, he was a shepherd. He was thrown to the side, at times forgotten by his own father, at times just seen as someone who his potential was not meant to be great because he wasn't as strong as his brothers. He wasn't as built as his brothers. He wasn't as big as his brothers. So his potential may not have been something that was so great. But God didn't care about that, right? So we see the story, and we know that, or some of you may know that he protected the sheep, and he was a shepherd, and we hear the part where he slayed lions and bears and all that stuff. But sometimes, yeah, this physical, outwardly process that he endured was great. But now we see this young boy who's gone through all that, and now it's time to anoint a king. And when it's time to anoint a king, his father completely forgot and only worried about his other children. His father completely pushed away David and the thought of David even being able to be a king, and only focused on his other sons. And then we look at how God chose David. Now that's great. God, like I said, has chosen every single one of you. But it doesn't stop there. I think we fall into this misconception thinking, all right, God has called me. Now what? And that's kind of what I want to talk about is the now what. Now, God, I'm telling you now that you have a purpose. So where do we go from there? Where do we build from there? Right? So King David, David at the time, not even king yet, was heading up. There was this great war against the Philistines, and they were winning the war. And they were battling and going against the Israelites, and they were winning this war. And King Saul did not even know what to do. He didn't know what to do. He had nobody who can beat this great giant, great big strong man, Goliath. And then he was stuck. He was in a position where he was stuck. Uh and so then he came to this realization where it's like, okay, I need to find a great warrior. So of course, the normal thing to do would be to find that in someone who's big and strong, someone who's mighty, someone who is all these things. That's the normal thing to do. Yet that didn't work out for him. So then eventually it came to King David, or David. And David said, "I'll do it." When nobody else wanted to do it, David said, "I'll do it." So my first point to all this, right? To finding your purpose, to walking in your purpose and developing your purpose, is first facing your giants, right? Being unafraid, pushing away fear, pushing away the doubt, pushing away all those things, and now facing your giants. There's a great movie years ago called Facing Your Giants, and if you've never seen it, watch it. It's an amazing movie. And then so King David had to face this guy. He had to choose. He didn't have to, by the law of the king. The king didn't choose him, but he chose himself because he knew his purpose was depending on it. So David faced his giant, right? And we hear the story. Spoiler alert, King David brings down Goliath, right? And we hear that great story, and we hear what he did, and we hear how he slayed this giant. And that's good, and obviously that's important, and we speak and preach and teach so much about that part. And then I think sometimes we forget what happens afterwards, right? Literally right after, it says that war broke out again. So our first point was that he faced his giants to develop his purpose, to keep developing his purpose. The second point was that he did not allow himself to be comfortable. Imagine if David would have just sat back and would have just had not cared anymore. Imagine if he wouldn't have done any of that and would have just taken a step back, thought he already completed everything he had to complete, and was good from there on out, right? Imagine if that's what he decided to do, but it wasn't. It says war broke out again, and David was ready. David was ready to fight again. Understand? And I think one thing that we do wrong sometimes is that we get okay with winning one battle and thinking that was all. We get okay with overcoming one victory, or having one breakthrough. We become Christians that live breakthrough through breakthrough, victory to victory, instead of wanting to endure that process. We're looking for victory because we want that to be our driving force, not understanding that the process is just as important to get to that victory, and we become comfortable in between, and then we ask God why things are still happening, right? Or why, because things will always happen, but we ask God, why have I not gotten where I should be at? Or why have I not overcame the way I should overcome, right? And so first thing, he faced his giant. Number one, face your giants. Number two, don't get comfortable in the process, right? Because like I said, every process is necessary for your potential. But we get too comfortable sometimes in the middle of the process because we already got one victory, and then we got another victory, and then maybe we got another victory, but we keep seeking for God to answer everything, and we don't put anything into practice, right? One of the things that I love most is sports, right? And one of the things that they do so well nowadays with boxing, I love boxing, is that they build it up before they get to the actual fight. They have press conferences, they have weigh-ins, they do all these things to build up tension for the fight. They go through this long process before the fight actually happens, right? And so, yeah, the guy who won the last fight, or most of these people always win most of their fights, and now they're facing one of their toughest opponents so they can reach the next level. And imagine if they get so used to winning the first 10 fights, and so their 11th fight comes and they're already comfortable. Are they going to win that fight? No, because they didn't prepare themselves. They didn't train how they should have. They didn't take that process seriously. Sometimes that process in between the next victory, because the victory is there. Sometimes that process in between the next victory, uh, uh, sometimes that process in between the next victory, sorry, I'm like trying to read the comments at the same time. Sometimes that process in between the next victory can be the very thing that make us lose the next battle. And we don't even notice that, right? We don't notice how sometimes it's, yeah, we're okay from going from victory to victory, and sometimes it's that process in between that make us lose our next fight, because we get a little too comfortable in that. We take a little seat back. We feel good because we're overcoming. We feel good because we overcame this sin or that sin, and then we get comfortable in that one little spot and then forget about what's to come next after that, right? We think we won one fight, the next fight isn't going to be bigger or stronger, when it really is, and it will always be like that. And I think the beautiful part is understanding how to manage the pressure. The pressure will never go. The Bible doesn't say weapons won't forge. It says it won't prosper. Now, for it not to prosper, at the end of the day, it's on us. At the end of the day, it's our choice for those weapons to not prosper or not, for them to overcome or not, right? That is up to us. We got to stop sitting back and thinking God's going to do things for us, right? All right. And so then, what's up, Layla? What's up, Andrea? A lot of people on the Instagram. What's up, people? And I got people on Facebook right now. I love you guys. Sorry, I can't see your comments, so it's kind of hard to say what's up to you guys. But you guys are there, and I'm thankful for you guys. But next point. So we said David had to face his giants, and that's a key point. Second, he didn't get comfortable in the process in between, because it happens to us often. Now, after that, and this is the last point that I'll make, and then I'll conclude here. The third and final point is that when David finally got to where he got to, he was hit with disappointment, right? There came a moment where David was now king, and now he's trying to build a legacy. He has a son that is born, and then his son gets sick. His son is dying. David goes and fasts for 7 days, right? And the first thing you would think that David would do after he fasts, or the first thing you think that would happen after David fasts for 7 days for his son to be healed, what really happens is that his son dies, right? So now we hear about this great mighty man, King David, fasted for 7 days for his son to be healed, and his son dies, right? And it blows my mind. And I even asked God when I read that story, I asked God, why would he go through so much? Why would he do so much? He faced a giant, he's leading Israel, and he's doing all these things. He fasted 7 days because his son is dying, and yet you still let his son die. And I understood, and this is something I preached not long ago, is that David needed to understand his war cry. What's up, Wilson? God bless you, bro. Yes, we need to get together. You let me know. I'm in there whenever. I love you, brother. But his son dies, right? The one who's supposed to push on his legacy dies. And it's so hard to understand that and grasp that. And when I was asking God, I read the next verse, or the next chapter. It was literally right after that. And it says, Solomon was born not long after. And I didn't understand at first what God was trying to tell me. And then when I read it, I had to understand that, you know what, sometimes your greatest victories come after your greatest disappointments. Sometimes you have to go through the toughest moments in your life so you can have some of the greatest blessings in your life. The son who was to take on his legacy, the son who was supposed to be the wisest man ever, David first had to suffer for that blessing to happen, right? And we don't understand sometimes why God does things, right? But what the reason why we don't understand why God does things sometimes is because we're not understanding. We're first, number one, we don't have perspective. You know, one of the things that I hate most, and I this is truly a pet peeve of mine, is when people go to church, right? And we see people sometimes we know they're going through hell and back. And I posted this on my Instagram recently. We know they're going through hell and back, and we ask God, how are they even smiling in the midst of this, right? How are they even smiling? And the first thing we think is like, well, man, they're being fake. When God has taught me, no, they're just focused. Like their focus is somewhere else. Literally, I love what David did. His son died, and what he did, he put on his best clothes. He dressed himself nice. He put on the best cologne, and he went to go worship God right after. He didn't go do anything else. He went to worship God, because when he was dead, when he was most in need, when he was hungry and dying, He looked for the one who was living water. He looked for the one who can feed him. He looked for the one that can actually give him the next step to his blessings. So, yes, your purpose, right? Number one, you will always need to face giants. Number two, you will always need to stop getting comfortable in the middle of the process. We get comfortable in the middle before we get our next victory. And number three, and the most important point above anything, is our war cry. What do I mean with that? What do I mean with war cry? David's biggest cry wasn't when he was fasting. It was what he did afterwards, when he put on his best and gave his best to God in the midst of all the hurt and in the midst of all the pain. That's where David got his victory. It wasn't when he faced Goliath. It wasn't when he did anything else. It's when he said, I went through hell and back. I faced something bigger than Goliath. And yet I'm still giving God all the glory and all the honor. And I promise you, when you apply that to your life, I promise you, when you say, you know what, this disappointment is big, but my God is bigger. You know what, this fear, this addiction, this sin is big, but my God is bigger. You know what, what's going on in my family, what's going on in my job, my finances, whatever it may be, but you know what, my God is bigger. And you just leave it in God's hands and you give God your best. I promise you. And it's proven in the Bible. There is nothing that can overcome a heart that is prostrated in the presence of God. Nothing can overcome that. There is no devil, no demon, no trial, no temptation that can overcome something like that. And so that is my word to you guys. That is not my word. That is the word that God put in my heart for you guys. It's for you guys to understand that your purpose is a process. In that process, there's pain, there's frustration, but for you to receive your promise, you have to go through that pain. You have to go through those frustrations, and eventually you'll get there. And once you get there, don't get comfortable at that. Go seek more, because eventually you'll learn how to manage the pain. You'll learn how to get to the next step. And what God asks for us is, all he wants us to go is from level to level, from glory to glory, from more to more. But we just need to follow the example of people like King David, of Moses, of all these people in the Bible who understood that pain just as much as anybody. And that is my word. That is God's word for you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on the live. Thank you for Facebook. I also have YouTube on live. I'm super grateful for you guys. I know next week I'm going to try to run everything through one camera. So it's a little awkward trying to speak to you guys all at the same time. And I can't read all the comments on Facebook or YouTube right now. But thank you, every single person who tuned into this. This will probably be posted on my page. So for those who weren't able to go in, make sure you guys share it. Please share it with people. Put this on your stories if you need to put it on your stories. Share this with people, because this is a word that people need to hear. I love you guys, and have a blessed night.